Hello, YouTubers and all those who happen to watch. Hope you guys are all doing quite well. So, Final Fantasy XIV initially was a flop. Some people have some sort of charm towards the game, but it was not that good. It was unoptimized, and it was just a bad project done by Square Enix. Now, the premise and promise of this game was supposed to be over the top, this really vibrant looking game, but most people who are the PS3 owners did not get that chance yet, until now, which of course they re-scrapped that project and made a brand new Final Fantasy XIV called The Realm Reborn, or at least they're putting the last touches on them for the last upcoming months to finalize it for an initial release near the end of the year. Now, I'm looking at this game and I'm really shaking my head at this project. Now, while it looks great, don't get me wrong, I was a big fan of Final Fantasy XI. I was, back in the day. Surprising, I know. So, after that point, I got burnt out of the series, or at least for the online series games. And I looked at 14 and says, okay, cool, I'll give it a try. And it was not that good. It looked pretty, but it was not that good. So I said, okay, this game is just going to fail, and I walk away. Hear the news, it fails. I'm like, cool. Am I going to give this game initially a second chance? Well, there has to be quite a few speculations, at least with my opinion, with this game. It has to be a buy-to-play or it has to be a free-to-play, which I know Square Enix is not going to be a free-to-play game. That is just not in their vocabulary. So I'm not looking towards any sort of forecast of them saying it's going to be, oh yeah, buy-to-play. No, it's just not. The definition, by the way, of buy-to-play means you initially buy the game once and you play it forever, just like Guild Wars 2 is, and as well as Guild Wars 1, along with all the other standalone/expansion games. So, to me, this game could do one or two things. It could go to the way of the chocobo, so to speak, pardon the pun, where it could do mediocre, then end up going into a buy-to-play or free-to-play ratio, or Square Enix counts their things and just shuts down the game all entirely and fires whoever was involved. I mean, it could happen, I don't know. But some people can also see this as a successful relaunch of the game, which they can enjoy the title for all I personally care, because to me, I don't think pay-to-play games are in anymore. Most people cannot really afford it and are not going to want to afford it. You know, they got bills to pay, they got other things to worry about, games they actually want to play, and they need that extra $15 a month in their pocket to actually afford half these games. Some people probably have the income, but quite frankly can't be asked to enjoy these MMO online social experiences with other folks and have to pay a premium just to sit idle in a damn town all day. Again, this to me adds up to this. Most of these games who are going free to play, yes, they're not doing as strong as a game such as World of Warcraft. I personally don't really give a damn about World of Warcraft. I respect the game. I respect its success. I respect people who happen to enjoy it, because at the end of the day, if I do not enjoy it, doesn't mean someone else can't. You know, that's just how I see it. I look at most games of today, though, such as Guild Wars 2, and I saw how successful it was and how many MMO enthusiasts, such as developers, looking at that game and just praising it. The ratio of how good the game was initially, when you first start the title, was astounding. I mean, even the beta for Guild Wars 2 was pretty shabby. Or was not too shabby, excuse me. And while I think that there's a 50-50 chance, which if most games, if not all, have, I'd say that there could be a 40% chance, at least for me, to completely ignore Final Fantasy XIV. I mean, I'll follow it, like I'm bringing it up now, but I won't initially buy it if I see it's going to be a pay-to-play thing, because I don't care about pay-to-plays anymore. I really don't. I mean, there's services such as Netflix and all those other services, even though gold to me isn't really a justifiable thing anymore either. It's just, you look at a pay-to-play service or a service you pay by monthly, and again, the equation does not ever add up to me. I understand these server costs, I understand all that silly crap, but Personally, if you make a cash shop, now people going that of course right there is the bane of all eardrums. But however, hear me out. When you make a cash shop or a DLC / cash shop, you put it in segments where it's going to be fair, concise, and it's actually be something someone can afford, such as 99-cent deposits, and you get some sort of special little item. This, of course, adds up tremendously over time. People have no problem spending 99 cents on $20 worth of stuff. They don't. Somebody could put 20 bucks into a game, come out with $20 worth of items, and put their thumbs up in the air and go, hell yes. See, that's a successful style of cash shop. Exception to, obviously, AAA titles such as on Steam and all those, which is a commendable trait, which is always optional too. Even though some of this, of course, is being forced by some people's eardrums. However, there's other games that are still coming out to this date that are DRM free, which most people most likely ignore and try to put the negativity on the DRM in general. But to me personally, this game, it looks good, but at the same time, I just can't put the taste or the flavor in my gums. I cannot digest this game too much, because if it is going to be what it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be very successful for very long, and it's going to have to go the way of how Age of Conan and all these other big brute games that are trying to challenge the general or the core MMORPG market. It's just not going to happen. Now, I don't like being negative, especially with most of these type of games, such as ones I actually enjoy as a series, such as Final Fantasy. But to me, it's an acidide's motive to even think of charging a monthly fee for this game. Try to do, segments of DLC, which is in a period of time for allow people to have a good segment of content to enjoy, then give them a dose of extra content later on. Now, when I look at this style of content, most people pump out DLC like it's going out of style, and this is what saturates the market. Some people get annoyed by it, and they just feel like it should be included in with, other games or games in general. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could probably be wrong for most people's eardrums, but me personally, I think it's a general core thing here, is that if you want someone to play your game and enjoy it, or if you want more people to come to your game, you got to make it look like and make it feel generally like you're not trying to rip them off, you're just trying to make them know that you're trying to pay the bills at the end of the day for your game once they're playing the service. But with older games out there now, such as World of Warcraft and others are trying to charge a premium, I don't see the point of charging a premium anymore. I might be wrong, but that's just how I see it. I mean, if a game's a buy-to-play, such as these, again, I mentioned in the previous statement, and you allow me access to the game, and the game happens to be pretty darn decent, I will fork over the money easily, knowing I invested some money into the game. And if there's DLC along the way that's actually pretty decent and will be beneficial to me and not game-breaking, then heck, I'll even chip in and do this too. So, there you go. That's my thesis and my opinion of most, pay-to-play style MMORPGs. I mean, to me personally, that's just how it is. I don't think that people need to pay that much extra in order to help benefit your pocket / help your project, keep afloat. So, that's just my opinion. I'm simply sticking to it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for listening.